Okay, so you'll probably not mind today's lesson at all. It's kind of a precursor to us doing the or statements. So we just got done doing probabilities of and statements. There were different kinds. And then or statements are actually going to be the same, where there's different kinds of or statements. Why are you eating peanut butter? That's like the one thing not to bring in the rooms. Well, you say sorry, but like I don't want anybody to die. So Venn diagrams are going to be a way to more easily understand the or statements. And so it's kind of a way to introduce it to you to help it make sense. So Venn diagrams are kind of part of probability. And, well, I don't know. We'll just go through it. Today's portion is probably different than Venn diagrams you're used to. Although, having said that, I don't even know what kind they do in geometry anymore. Do you guys do these in geometry at all? No. Oh, perfect. Then they're nothing like geometries. They're going to be different than Venn diagrams you've done in other classes. So let's start with notation. The upside down U symbol. So I feel like I don't need to say it again, but like shut your Chromebooks. There's nothing about this even in Schoology. It makes it much easier to learn the material when you watch the material. Correct? Yes. So if you have an upside down U, that represents the and statement. Well, that's pretty accurate, isn't it? Upside down U. The U symbol, because in set notation, they use those U symbols. And that's traditionally how you're going to see that for Venn diagrams. The U symbol represents an or statement. And if you forgot what to do with the and the or, so this was back from Algebra 1 and, a bunch of classes. An and statement means you want to find what they have in common. It's known as the intersection. An or statement is when you combine them together. It's a U symbol because it represents union. And then the other symbol you may or may not know is if you see a little apostrophe after a letter, it represents the opposite of what that stands for. So if you're looking at a Venn diagram, a lot of times they'll be labeled A and B or something like that. A would represent the A circle. A prime represents everything outside of the A circle. So that's how it's represented. Yeah?
Is the squiggly line, is that part of the symbol or just?
That was me underlining. And then apparently I forgot to erase the underlines. That is a good point. That is definitely not part of the symbol. There you go.
This is kind of off topic, but what does that mean, McLeod's new rule, no callbacks?
Somebody in a different hour was making fun of another student, like not in a mean way, but still making fun of them. And so normally when I have you guys call on somebody else, once you've answered, you don't have to answer anymore. So I made her answer twice. And she wanted to make that a new rule. So I told her I could make up the rules because it was my room. And so I think she thought by putting my name next to it, it would just be in effect. That's what a callback is. Okay, for each one of these problems today, you're going to use that exact same. Oh, sorry, Charlie, go ahead.
I think I might have left the graphing calculator in here yesterday. Did you find one?
I did not. Which type?
It's like like this one, but it's pink.
Okay, I was going to say, is it blue? So a pink graphing one?
Mm-hmm. It's like rose gold.
Yeah, I feel like I would have noticed that one though, probably.
Just let me know if it like.
Yeah, nobody turned one into me yet, and I haven't seen one, but I'll keep an eye out for it.
Okay.
Do you have your name on it, hopefully?
No.
Oh, okay, that's good. Would have been helpful. For every problem we're doing today, we're going to use that exact same picture. So you're going to write it a whole bunch of times. You'll get annoyed with it. It's all right. You're probably going to feel like today's section is very easy, though. So, hi.
Yo.
Oh, I just realized I didn't even mark you gone. Thanks. Welcome back. Now my attendance is correct. Dylan, what are you doing? You're on your phone.
I am.
Oh. Okay, Dylan, help me out here then.
Okay.
Do you remember what the upside down U represents?
And
Okay. So A is the circle on the left, B is the circle on the right.
correct.
How would we find, so intersection means what they have in common. On that picture, what's represented by what they have in common?
Middle.
Okay, good. So if you were asked to graph this or draw this situation, because that's kind of what's going to happen. On the next test, you'll be given a statement like this and a Venn diagram, and you just need to shade or draw this information. So everything you said is perfect. You would shade this section because that's what A and B have in common. Nice, easy start. Okay. Now, do you guys want me to present this differently? Do you understand the in common thing? Okay, because I could certainly show it differently and actually I just had a thought. Because I'm actually using the whiteboard, I could do this. Oh, what? We need that back. If I draw A, I need a bigger one. So like, say you're drawing on your own, and you would shade A, and then in a different colored pencil or what, I don't know what, you would shade B. Wherever their colors overlap would be the intersection or what they have in common. This is probably how you used to kind of do it on a number line, probably. So you would shade, oh, that's really bright on the projector. That looks much better up there. Same with how you used to do it on a number line, where you would shade both of the number lines individually and then try to figure out the answer from there. Venn diagram is pretty much the same. So this green would be the correct final answer. I mean, it's not like you're able to, but you could. Well, that doesn't even erase correct. What's the deal with that? Why is that erase so strange? Whatever. Let's move on. A union B. Deontay, what did the U symbol stand for? Perfect. We are going to put them together. So, do you think you could possibly describe to me what I should shade for this one? I'm not sure what the best way to ask that question. Or do you want me to guide you through that? Okay. So I would shade A first. Then I would shade B second. Now, in the previous problem, we were looking for what they had in common, but what you said was perfect. The union symbol means you put them together or combine them. So the final shaded section would be wherever anything is shaded. So on this particular problem, That would be the final answer. That's the main difference between the union and the intersection, or the and the or statements. The and statement means they have to happen at the same time. The or statement means it can be one or the other, so it's a combination of them. Is this straightforward enough? Okay. I kind of wanted to start with the basic ones. All right. A union B prime. And I have a feeling some of you will find this super easy today, because for some of you this just makes sense, and you honestly, you probably could have done it without me saying anything. And some of you, this just feels confusing. So it's kind of why I want to go through them. Deontay, who do you want to call on? I most definitely cannot tell who you're pointing at. Oh, all right, ready? Any thoughts on how to guide me on this?
Shade A and the middle.
Okay, shade A and the middle. Are you trying to tell me the final answer or just... Oh, well, let's take a little bit at a time. So shade A. I can do that. Not very good, but I can do that. FYI, I'm totally okay if this is what your homework looks like / the test answers. Like, I'm not looking for good shading. It's not like you're shading maps for social studies or something. Do you guys still do that? I always found that horrible. Okay, Munir, do you remember what B prime means? So what would that look like? Okay.
It would be like, the middle wouldn't be.
Outside of B. Okay, so not B. This is going to take me a little while probably, huh? Not B is everything outside of B.
But wouldn't the middle, would the middle be shaded or not? Because like that's part of B, right?
B is the second circle. So I just shaded outside that circle. Well, we're not done yet. Now we need to figure out what the union statement means. So we were doing them individually first, and then trying to determine what the final answer would be.
Because like, since there are like two circles in the middle, that's part of B and they're overlapping, right?
No? Okay, Munir. Does the U mean I combine them, or if I look what they have in common?
Look what they have in common.
Backwards. So the upside down U would be to figure out what they have in common. The U means you put them together. So on this one, anything that is currently shaded is going to be the final answer. So a lot. Honestly, this is probably the most time today is just actually shading, which is kind of weird, but. So there is only going to be one section that is not shaded, and that's going to be that little backwards Pac-Man section in B. Because A is part of the final answer, A overlaps with B a little bit. And then that would kind of be the portion of B that is allowed in the final answer. So that's why I wanted to start today off by trying to talk about what intersection means and what union means. Because that's the idea you're going to take to figure out the final answers on these. It's pretty much just all about logic. And when we get to the or probabilities tomorrow, Monday, then that's how we're going to use this. Ideally, I'm looking at the wrong calendar. Ideally, we'll be done with this section on Monday. And then I will probably try to give you the review on Monday as well. So that you can get started on it ahead of time, because I would like to take the test Wednesday and Thursday.
The due date?
Partially, yes. So partially selfish reasons, because it's going to take me forever to correct 2 days worth of tests. So one day is more like normal problems, probabilities, things like that. Second day is going to be like you have to draw, so it's kind of split up. Just so some of these questions take a while and want to give you time to think about stuff, so that's more the reason for taking 2 days. Not super fan of it, but whatever. I kind of agreed to all do it the same. So either way, that's kind of the plan. I know up there it's written as the test being Thursday. It'll be Wednesday, Thursday. Okay. A prime intersect B prime. Do you want to try to do it on your own first? You could certainly can. Okay, everybody but Maddie then. Yep. Why don't you try to do it on your own first? Just shade lightly or whatever. Just see if you can get it right. A prime intersect B prime. Charlie, what happened? It looks like you kind of just like.
No, I just finished the problem.
Oh, all right. It was all that extra walking, getting lost in the school.
Yeah, it was. I had to walk down and up the place there.
It's like you're a new freshman.
Oh, freshman is the scariest thing in life.
It is. When you first come to the school, this is unbelievably confusing. And I understand it.
And it's like all the
seniors are like
Once you understand the layout, it's not bad. But the numbering system, in my opinion, is horrible. So you guys kind of know where to go, because certain classes are kind of in certain pods. So you kind of know where to look for the numbers. But like, if somebody just gives you a number, yeah, like I've been here long enough that I know 17 is the first number in our pod. And what is it, 18 is the first number in our pod, and 27 is the last number. But like, it would have been easier if they made blue pod 100s, yellow pod 200s, green pod 300s, so the number actually told you where to go. Okay, that was probably long enough to do this question, huh? Zena, on the phone. It's as bad as Jake being on the laptop again. You just opened it? Wow. Well, clearly I knew it wasn't just going to be open to be open. I was going to say, you have to have it open to charge. So, like usually when people do that, just crack it or something. Zena, what I was hoping you could tell me, what does A prime look like?
Anything except A.
Okay?
And then there's B prime, so that's anything except B, so it would just,
You explained to them perfectly, but what does that look like on the picture?
that's what I was gonna say, would cut me off.
Oh, wow.
Anything except the circles. So like,
Yes.
you know what I'm saying?
Yep, that works. Obviously, nobody can hear that answer, but that's okay. It's kind of hard to describe as well. So A prime would be, that gets so small. A prime outside of A is really bad. Just let's pretend I passed kindergarten and I can color in the lines. Okay, so there's A prime outside of A. B prime outside of B. Which isn't going any better. Yes, sir.
So what if like I know the equation but I'm having trouble plugging it into the calculator?
Then definitely write down what you're trying to do on the calculator. And that's kind of how I come up with my partial credit.
Okay, great, thank you.
Okay, so whoa, my gosh, that's bright on the projector. Well, whatever. I don't ever look at the projector, so I forget. Well, like on my screen, it is like dark green. Do you remember what the intersection symbol represented? Like what color up there? Green. So intersection represents what they have in common. And as you shade with the highlighters, the green is what they have in common because they were both shaded there. So your final answer would be the green section. Here's the trouble about doing this on a test, right? What you'd want to do is shade the first two things very lightly, and then shade darkly. Is that a real word? Darkly. Shade dark what you want the final answer to be. I've had some students in the past use pencil on the first couple steps, and then take a highlighter to show their final answer. Yeah, sorry, I know you were trying to ask something.
So if it was like A prime,
We got more. We got more examples. Don't give away the secrets. And then if you still have the question, ask it. Go ahead.
So like the union thing is like means like intersect. So like I.
Nope,
should-
backwards.
And the N.
The upside down U means intersect. The U means combine.
That's fine then.
Okay.
So I like shaded the middle and then like I shaded like outside of
The
the circle
circle.
because everything but
B.
but like in the middle I shaded that to like that's where it intersects. I'm just like confused why you're not shading that.
Katie also did.
I heard
And
that.
neither did anyone.
So this middle section is the exact opposite of kind of what you're thinking. Because this middle section is what A and B have in common. And we're looking to try to figure out what everything but A and everything but B have in common.
The upside down U means in common.
Yeah.
So.
Oh, so if it
The-
was the U, then it would be the middle, right?
If it was the U, it would be everything but the middle. Where you guys are getting thrown off is this doesn't mean A.
Yeah, I know.
The middle section here, that piece, that's what you're talking about? That middle piece there is specifically part of A and part of B. It's the only section that A and B have in common.
Yeah, but so what do you
This doesn't mean A. That's where you're getting thrown
Yeah,
off.
I'm confused like about the sign because it's the upside down U and on there it says like intersect in common. So like that's. what-
Okay, are you okay with the shading that they did at first part anyway? Or not? Because if not, then that's where confusion would definitely come. So like not A meant that
Yes. Yes.
I think that was yellow. Yeah, not A was yellow, so I drew everything outside of A.
yes.
And then not B, I drew everything outside of B.
And
That was the blue. This white piece that didn't have any kind of shading is the only piece up there that it's made up only of regular A and regular B. So it's the only part up there that is not part of not A, not B. whatever, go by the shading. That's kind of why we do the shading, I guess.
I think
Anywhere where they're shaded in common, which is green, would be what they have in common. This little piece in the middle was the only place that never got shaded in the first place. So it would not be part of the final answer. I get what you're trying to ask, and I don't have a better way of saying it. Yeah, I don't have a better way of saying it, I guess.
I think the words are for people, cause like intersect is like together and then put together is like.
So in terms of drawing, it's where the colors are put together. It's where the colors would be combined. Like anywhere that's colored would be the answer for union. Anywhere where the colors are combined, green, would be in common.
Okay.
Okay. Sorry, Will, what were you trying to ask that I cut you off for? I
I
apologize if you forgot now.
was just gonna say if the symbol was union, would it be everything but the middle?
Yes. Yeah. So if the symbol was a U,
Yeah.
the only place that's not in the final answer is the very middle.
So like that,
The white piece would be the only part not in the answer.
so that would be like not shaded.
But these
Right.
are regular leaves.
And so then everywhere else would be like shaded one color, like there would be no.
Like a final answer, yes. Yeah. Here, the easiest way I could probably show that. When you're doing union, it might be easier to do everything in the same color. Oh, can I do that with a highlighter? Sure.
So that would look like it was for union.
Yes. So when you're doing union, it's easier to do everything in one color because everything that's shaded yellow is part of the final answer. When you're doing intersection, you want different colors because you want to see where they overlap. So your homework is not in the book in any which way. I'm trying to figure out how to make this on the screen. Maybe I'll try to move these up. Your homework is going to be kind of written down by hand, and I'll just leave it up on the whiteboard. This shouldn't be an issue for you to be done by the end of the hour. And I'm kind of planning that on purpose today because I want people to be able to come up and check with me on anything that's wrong in their grade book, on, I don't know, be able to discuss grades with me because by the end of next week, I won't be discussing grade stuff with you. Like, it should be taken care of by then. I don't want you coming up to me on Friday and saying all of a sudden you should be retaking something. Like, these things should be planned ahead of time.
So what I